Welcome. This is Mark Rugen, Managing Director of Learning and Development for SA International, and I'd like to show you how to upgrade to or install Flexi Complete. First of all, let's talk about how to get Flexi Complete. If you already have a Flexi subscription, just go to your account at www.saicloud.com where you can download it and get your activation codes. If you have Flexi but not a subscription, give us a call or talk to your local reseller about how to set it up. And if you're brand new to Flexi, call us or a reseller for help getting the software and getting it installed. No matter how you get Flexi Complete, let's take you through our guide for installing it successfully. Now, what I'd like to do is walk you through the right way to install the software. To do that, we put this guide together for you, so please take the time to review the entire guide before you begin the installation. You may want to print it out and use it during installation. We can't account for all the specifics of your specific hardware, but we can offer you suggestions on what to check. So follow along as we guide you through a successful installation of Flexi Complete. Based on our experience in working with other users, we have some tips for you for a successful install, and we suggest you read or watch this entire presentation before you begin. That's the most important thing. Be patient. Patience is the key to a successful install. Take your time. Set aside enough time to do the installation, but don't rush through it. Read the dialog boxes carefully. Choose the options wisely. Make sure you have enough space on your hard drive. Back up your existing software version if that's needed. Install it as an admin if you're using Windows. And don't install over your existing software, but instead choose a different folder. If an error should occur, stop, write it down, and tell us exactly what happened when you speak to technical support. That way we can help you right away. All right, before you begin, there's a few things I want you to do to prepare for the install. Let's make absolutely certain you have the minimum hardware requirements. Now, this program will run on Windows 11 64-bit processor. It will run on Windows 10, 32, or 64-bit processor. You need a minimum of RAM, 16 to 32 gigabytes. The CPU should be at least 3 gigahertz, and Intel i5 or i7 would be great. Your display should be 1920 by 1080 resolution, 24-bit color. The disk space, you should really try to use a solid state drive, 256 gigabytes or more. I would say more than that. And a hard drive with, probably 500 gigabytes of working space or more. You're going to need an internet connection, so make sure you have that. And remember, internet connection is required for license activation as well as cloud window features and services. Look, we understand that these days there's a lot of security situations and considerations, and Windows has firewalls and virus protection. You may even have third-party software. That's fine. Firewalls and virus protection software can halt the installation or cause issues if you're not carefully monitored. Should either the firewall or security software ask you to allow or block an item during installation, always allow it. Let Flexi install right through the security and the firewalls. It's perfectly safe. Okay, if you've done all that prep, it's time to start installing Flexi Complete. So let's get started. If you're already a Flexi user, and you have a Flexi version that allows this, what I want you to do is back up your existing setup. The more recent versions of Flexi have a backup and restore option that's found in the edit menu under preferences. So open that up and save and back up your system. Once you do that, you can then exit that version of Flexi. Okay, once that's done, now you're going to access your SAI Cloud account. Just open up Internet Explorer, type in www.saicloud.com, and if this is a new install, you're going to type in your activation code. Otherwise, just enter your email and password to access your account. The first step in installing is just to download the software. So you're going to double click the software after you've downloaded it to begin the installation. You may need an activation code, so either write it down or copy it. That's going to be found in that SAI Cloud account that you just accessed. So a few more things you need to consider while you're installing or before you install, and that is decide where you want to install the software. What I mean is we recommend installing it in a separate new folder. Try not to install it over the previous version of your software. You might consider naming the install folder with the build number. For instance, if you're installing build number 4393, perhaps the name of the folder would end with that number. Doing that can assist you when getting technical support, as it will tell the support person what version you're using. Okay, so I am going to install Flexi Complete. And like all the installs, I've downloaded the software, and you can see here it's a Flexi subscription Win24 4393. I'm just going to remember that 4393 because I'm going to use it in just a minute. So let's start the install process. Just click OK, and you're going to get this message here. I'm going to install in English. It's going to take a second or two to start the process of installing, and you will get this message. If you want to, read the license agreement here and accept that agreement. Next. This is now where you're going to install it. Remember I said I was installing 4393? So instead of installing it there, I'm going to say install in Suite 24 4393, just to keep track of which build or version that I'm actually installing. So I'm going to say OK to that. Next. Let's go ahead and install complete. You're going to install Connect. I already have it with another software, so I'm going to skip that. I do want to install the samples and the software. We're going to click Next. And it gives me the name that it's going to use. This is the start menu name that it's going to use. It's telling me it's going to install all these things, and I'm going to click Install. At this point, it's going to extract the files so that it can begin the installation process. Now, you may get a warning on some of your security software or whatever. Always allow whatever that is. Whatever you see a warning about something, whether it's from your firewall or a virus or security software, whatever it is, always click Allow. It may take several minutes to do the install, but that's all right. It's, it's a process that should go without any error whatsoever. So you can see now it's actually extracting the files it's going to use to install the software. It's going to do that fairly rapidly. Okay, I've been installing here. It's probably been about maybe 2 minutes, and we're nearing the end of the first stage of the install here. So it's going to finish up extracting all those files. Again, if you get any messages like a security message, just allow whatever it is, just allow it. And at that point, then it's going to ask you for the activation code. So you would have written this down, or you can copy and paste it like I'm going to do. So I'm just going to paste that in, and I'm going to say next on that. At this point, it's communicating with the server to assure that the license is valid, and it is. So I'm going to click finish, and you may get one more little thing. This is mine. Yours may look different. Just click allow on it. Whatever you need to do, just keep clicking allow until you get it finished. When everything is said and done, it will have been installed. You will get to this message now that says, what do you want to install? I'm going to install Flexi Complete. And it says here, create a desktop shortcut. Definitely yes. I'm not going to clear my application previous preferences, although if it's a new install, it's not going to make any difference. But if you wish to do that, you may. But this is important here. Copy data from another installation. So if you're brand new to the software, you're not going to worry about this. But since I already have previous software installed, I just want to copy my settings. Now, in some cases, some versions of Flexi will allow you to do a backup of your installed preferences and devices and profiles and so forth. So you would have done that if you're following the instructions in the guide. You would have done that previously, and you will have that saved. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Go ahead and copy that. I'll click OK here. And it's asking me, well, where are those preferences? And I happen to have them in this location right here. Okay, so I'm going to say just copy everything. Say copy. And it says here, this is a new version. You want to continue? Yes. Like I said, allow everything. And what it's doing is it's looking at that setup, that previous setup, and it's copying all those pieces in there. Now, I would highly advise when you get to this menu here, it says you've completed it. Do you want to view the README file? Go ahead and open that up, because you're going to see a lot of the new features are going to be highlighted in that file. I'm going to actually click finish, and I'm not going to actually open that up. So I'm just going to hit finish here. And at that point, we have installed the software. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto my desktop, and I'm going to look for that software that I've just loaded. So give me 1 second here. And as you'll see, the icons will appear on the desktop. At this point then, I'm going to double click on my Flexi software to make sure that it's running properly. And it will open up the software. As you see here, everything looks right on it. I can go in here and set all my preferences. I typically like to just draw something very simple like a rectangle, right? And click exit on that, and then just click the rectangle, maybe make it a different color just so I can have something that's a little colorful. You could even choose some of the new patterns down here if you wanted to. That's a cool one. And I go up here and I click on Rip and Print to start up the production manager. And you're going to see you can start it on the local computer, on another computer if it's on a network, or on an internet access. I happen to have it on my local computer, so I'm going to say OK, and it's going to start production manager. Now because I have other printers loaded, because I copied it from another installation, it's actually downloading my printer files. So this is a normal process when you run it the first time. Or if there's a process where a printer is been updated, the printer files are updated, this is a great way to update the latest version of the device driver and so forth. So you may see this in several times when you're using the software. That's perfectly normal. It's just simply loading and downloading the printer files needed for that particular printer that we have defined in Production Manager. Remember, I copied from another installation. So if you don't have any printers loaded yet, you can run through and actually use Production Manager to set up a printer. And once you do that, it will then download the printer files you need. So you can see once it loads up all the printer drivers, I have Production Manager started here. And as I said, I actually copied from another installation where I already had a file I was printing and so forth. It copied everything I needed, all the profiles, all the printer drivers, and so forth. That's why you want to back up your previous installations. It's going to make updating and installing new versions and so forth so much easier to do, right? So this is now totally installed. Everything looks just exactly fine. I can actually send this job if I want to. I'm going to click Done, and I'm going to click on that Send again. And here it is. I'm getting ready to send this. I would just pick the printer that I want to use. In my case, I have several that I've loaded. You can pick whatever one you want. I'm going to place it on hold. I'm going to hit send. And again, everything should go fine. At this point, it's communicating with Production Manager and sending the file right over to Production Manager. You can see it sent the file. So if I bring up Production Manager, there it is. And I'm ready to start printing, just choosing the workflow that I need for my color management. That's the way you set up the software. I hope this helps you. Be sure and follow the steps precisely. Make sure you do all those previous preparation, and you're going to have a successful install of Flexi Complete.